Hi. So I just want to try to make this point. It's kind of difficult, but I've been really struggling to reach and connect with Trump supporters, and hasn't always been going very well. And I think that there's a lot of ideological warfare going on right now, and I at least have been able to get past some of those barriers on some levels. And I do want to say that I think a lot of it has to do with different ideologies trying to take sides and dig in their heels and sort of fight this battle, fight this ideological war. But that I think that the bridge that we can build, the constructive common ground that we can build on in a non zero sum way, is just to say that, hey, there's a rational, objective reality. There are facts, there are statistics, there are societal ills, there are issues like radical Islam and how to handle immigration, um, or just how to treat citizens in general. And I think that what it comes down to is everyone wants to recognize those societal ills, those issues, those obstacles that we do have to deal with. Everyone wants to recognize and handle the reality logistically, legally, whatever, in the best way possible. But that a lot of people, particularly on the conservative side, don't like the idea of being forced to be sensitive to others where they think that they're being unreasonable in their reactivity. And a lot of people, particularly liberals, don't want to be labeled as being reactive for what they see as something that could potentially be hurtful, genuinely hurtful and offensive to someone who struggled with something for perhaps their entire life, like a disability or an ethnicity or a gender or a trauma. Um, but that ultimately, I think conservatives need to realize that even if it's not your buttons or your triggers or your traumas or your whatever that's underlying yourself that's getting hurt or pushed at the time, maybe you're perfectly happy and privileged or whatever, and that's great, good for you. But recognize that there are people who are good, innocent people who have struggled or are struggling with a lot and don't want to be picked on because of the thing that they've had to deal with that's been tough for them and has ultimately just made them stronger. They don't want to be looked at as lesser for that, but that ultimately people are people and we do need to respect them without judgment and try to understand them and where they're coming from. But that doesn't mean that there aren't issues and that there aren't problems and that we can't have real, reasonable, rational conversations about what's really going on And just that if we could start there with those two things, that A, I'm just gonna be sensitive, not meaning that I'm being like crazily politically correct and going out of my way to just walk on eggshells, but just that I love and accept all people, but that also I'm in tune with reality, I'm in touch with reality. I want to understand the facts and statistics and reality of the matter. I want to look at possible solutions in a realistic way. So just finding that balance between the two sides of not being overly sensitive, but just being decent toward everyone, but not focusing on that so much that we lose sight of what the true reality is and what needs to be dealt with. And if we could just start there, come to the table there, politically, ideologically, then maybe we could start to work out the balance in the tit for tat of, where should the threshold for this policy or this legislation or this federal providence or whatever it might be, where should it be? And then there can kind of be a real tension and contention between the left and the right political ideologies in the United States. And I think it's honestly as simple as that. It's so much more important for us to try, especially now, to build bridges rather than to fight battles. Okay, thanks. Let me know how that goes.